Hi, and welcome to part 4 of our PowerShell Universal project series. In the last couple videos, we've built up this front-end application with PowerShell Universal, and we built some API routes that will actually do all of our functionality. So we've already programmed the actual search function. So in here, we can actually search for a username in our Active Directory, hit the search button or the enter button, and it will load in all the actual details from the user here. And then these buttons activate based on some of the properties that come back from our user. So if we look up this user test employee 3, we will notice that the enabled is true and locked out is true. So we have the ability to unlock the account and we have the ability to disable the account. We also have the ability to reset the password as well. So let's go ahead and let's program some of these buttons today. And let's go ahead and let's actually get started here. So we're just going to go into our dashboard here. We're going to go into our page where we have all of our code. And I'm just going to zoom in here. And we have our little section that we had created for our buttons right here. So we can actually do everything right here. So the first one we're going to do is the unlock account button here. So let's just go ahead and let's hit enter in here. So the first real thing that we really need to be able to do to unlock the account is first get the username of the user that we want to unlock so we can go ahead and pass that into our API route. Luckily, that's very, very easy because we type in our username in our form up above here, and we gave this text box an ID field. So we're actually going to grab what's inside of that text box. So let's go ahead. And there are a couple other ways that you can do it as well. You can definitely, once you hit search, funnel that information into another text box. So this way it's non-editable. Or you can also grab it from the user details username and do some slight modifications to it to be able to grab that. So let's go ahead and let's just show you guys what that would kind of look like. So let's create a variable called username here. And we're going to first just grab it from the text box on which we actually type in our username. So we're going to do get UD element, and then we're going to get it from with the ID, and our ID is going to be username. Now make sure that you type this in correctly. I do believe that it is case sensitive. Every time that I don't input it case sensitive, it does give me issues. So if we just want to get what's inside of the text box, we just need to grab the UD element username and do a dot value, and that will give us the actual value of what's inside the text box. Now we can actually show what this is actually equal to. If we just copy this show modal from our try catch statement and then just paste that into the unlock account option here. And then we're just going to put $username here. And we're going to see what that looks like. So let's go ahead and let's hit save because we want to make sure that we're getting the right value before we actually go any further. So let's go ahead and let's do test employee 3. Let's hit search here. And if I hit unlock account, we do get a modal that pops up and it shows us the username, which is perfect. But what would happen if the user accidentally just does this, doesn't hit search, and then does unlock account? We do notice that there's a little discrepancy here because it is not what's actually the username. So this is actually going to cause us issues if we grab it from the text box. So what I would actually do is come back to the code, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab it from user details username. Now we can't just do value in this case. So what we're going to do is we're just going to remove the dot value and see what we would need to actually grab to grab the username from that box. Let's go ahead and let's hit save here. And let's go ahead and let's minimize this. And let's go back into our application and let's do test employee 3 once again. And we're going to hit unlock account. Now here we're going to get something very big. We get an @ symbol, so we know we're getting back an object, content username, : test employee 3. We get the tag, we get the attributes. But here we do see that it is in content. We do get our username, and it is after the colon. So what we can actually do, knowing PowerShell, is we can go back into our code here and do a dot content dot split, open and close parentheses, and we're going to split on the colon, and we're going to grab element number 1, which is going to be the second element, and then all we're going to do is a dot trim open and close parentheses. If we actually do that and we save it and we go back into our application now if we do test employee 3, we get all of our details there. If we hit unlock account, we do see we do get back test employee 3. And now if for some reason they accidentally backspace or add an entry in the username field, it still pulls back test employee 3 because that's currently the user in user details. So this is what we're going to want to use because it is a lot more stable and a lot more guaranteed that it's actually the user that we're looking at. So now that we actually have the username, now all that we actually have to do is execute our API route to unlock the account. And that we can do by doing an invoke REST method. And then our REST method is going to be a dash URI. And then we're going to do HTTP. We're going to have to put this in, yeah, we can put this in quotes here. I kind of want to make it similarly. I like to keep all of the things exactly the same. So we're just going to grab this one here, which we will need. So we're going to need the user details because we also want to pull the user details right after unlocking the account anyways. I'm just going to put that in here. And then our URI is going to be a set of double quotes, HTTP colon / localhost 5000. And then it's going to be unlock account and then a / user $username. And that method, if I remember correctly, let's just hit save. And we need to go back and take a look at what our endpoint was here, because I don't actually fully remember what we had set it to. We had set it to patch. So let's go ahead and let's put that in here. So let's go into our app. Let's edit our Active Directory tool, go into our page here, go into our code. Let me just re-zoom in here for you guys. And let's scroll down a little bit. And we went a little bit too far. All right, so the method here is going to be patch. And then we're going to get the user details. And then what we're actually going to do is we are just going to go ahead and we can actually copy paste another section from up here. Because what we want to do is we want to reload all those details. So all we're going to do is we're going to copy the properties and the for each for loading in the data in there. So let's go ahead and let's paste that in here as well. All right, so now we can just paste that in here. And if we just hit save, we should be able to go and test this out real quick. So let's do test employee 3. Hit search, let's hit unlock account. And we do see locked out is now equals to false. But our unlock button is still active. So what we want to do is after we click on it and after we load all the data back in, all we want to make sure that we do is we want to make sure that we go ahead and we disable the button. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a set UD element, and then we're going to do the ID of unlock account. And we're going to do properties. And we're going to do the @ symbol here. And then in there, we're going to put disabled equals true. All right. So that should be good. So if we actually go ahead and save that now we're going to have to relock out the account, but let's just go ahead and let's just make sure that if we do test employee 3, locked out is equals to false. Our button is not active, which is great. And now if we go ahead and we go into our notepad, right click, hit use as different user. Let's just lock out our account here. All right. And let's go ahead and let's hit search. We can see that it is locked out. And if we hit unlock account, locked out is now equals to false and the button is deactivated. So everything is working now for the unlock account button. So let's go ahead and let's go back into our code. And all we need to do now is do the enable, disable, and reset password, which are all going to be very, very similar. So what we can actually go ahead and do is we can go ahead and just copy paste pretty much everything other than the part where we disable the button here. So let's just go ahead, and I scrolled way too much there. All right, so let's grab that all the way here, and we can actually copy that there. And then let's just go inside the enable account option here, and we're going to paste that in. And now instead of doing the invoke REST method for the unlock account, what we want to do is we want to do an invoke REST method for enable account with the username still. We're still going to do all of that as well. And then the only thing that we're going to want to do is instead of disabling just the enable button, what we actually have to do as well is activate the disable button. So what we want to do is set the UD element for ID enable account properties. And we're going to do the @ symbol and curly bracket. And then disable for the enable account button will be true because it will be already enabled. And then we're just going to copy paste that there and change the enable account to disable account and change the true to false. So if we go ahead and we save that here, and we can go ahead and we can actually just copy paste this entire, oops, again, my computer is acting just a little funny with the selections right now. All right, so if we actually just go ahead and select that entire section once again here, because we know that the disable account will actually be pretty much identical. We're just gonna have to change a few little things here. So we're just gonna paste that in here. And then instead of doing the enable account API route, we're gonna do the disable account API route. It still loads in all the details. And then instead of the enable account disabled equals true, it's going to be disabled equals false. And the disable account disabled will be equals true. So let's go ahead and let's save that. And let's go ahead and let's test that out here. Let's go back to our dashboard. Let's type in test employee 3. We can see that it is actually currently enabled. So if we actually disable the account, we see that it is now disabled because enabled is equal to false. And we can actually confirm that as well. If we load our Active Directory here, let me just refresh this, we can see our test employee 3 is disabled. And if we hit enable account, we will see that now enabled is equals to true. The buttons flip over And if we confirm with our Active Directory here, let me just change that and let's just refresh. It is now enabled. So everything here is working. So we really only have one button left to program, and that is the reset password button. So let's go ahead and let's do that here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to open up this text here. Now this is the only one that's going to be quite a bit different than the other ones because we're not going to be disabling the reset button after we reset the password, because you can reset a password maybe multiple times. Maybe you don't really like the password that got generated, so you want to make a new one. So let's go ahead, and the only part that we will actually copy really is going to be the first two, really, the username line and then the invoke rest method line, because we do need those. And we're just going to paste them in here. And what we're going to do for the invoke rest method, we're actually going to say a variable called new password is equal the invoke rest method. And then, of course, we need to change that to our reset password route here. And that should be good. And then what we're going to want to do is what I like to do in the live stream. What we did is we had a text box. Basically, we had a text box in our web page, and we put the password in there. What I actually like better is I actually like to go back into our try catch statement. What we're going to do is we're going to copy the show modal, and it's going to be a prompt. So it's just going to pop up, and that's where you're going to see the password. Now, there are a lot of ways to do this. Like I said, you can add a text box and you can put it in there as well. It's really all comes down to the same thing. You would just do a set UD element and then set the text the exact same way that we set up these UD elements down here. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a new UD alert, and we're going to have this severity of info here. And then what we're going to do is the text is going to be password for, and then we're going to have a variable wrapper, new password dot username has been reset to, and then we're going to do another variable wrapper here. We're going to do new password dot new password. Now that should work. Let's go ahead and let's see if this does actually give us the info that we want. Let's go ahead and let's go back into the dashboard. Let's go into test employee 3. And we can hit reset password here. And there it is. So we actually have this nice little modal that pops up. We have our username that it got reset, and we have our password, and you can still copy paste this directly from here. But what's nice is as soon as you click off of it, it is gone. So it doesn't stay on the screen. Whereas if you have a text box, it's going to stay there. And then you also have an extra thing to reset all the time. When you search for a new user, you would have to reset that. Whereas if you just have it in a modal, it pops up. You don't have to really worry about resetting it. And it's also a bit more secure because it's just not on the screen. So if you accidentally leave this window open, someone can't come and grab the password. They would, of course, be able to hit the reset password and reset it again. And then you could just grab this password again. And what's nice is this is fully able to, you can copy and paste this very easily from there as well. So you can send this to your user. And that is really the entire dashboard complete. We've programmed all the buttons that we have, and we have a fully functioning search with the group membership as well. If you guys want to see anything added to this dashboard, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you guys would like to see another tool built in PowerShell Universal, please let me know below in the comment section as well. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out, and I will see you guys on the next video.